All right, so we are working with a single piece of wire that we are cutting into two pieces and then bending into shapes. So one of the biggest things with this is it gets really overwhelming very quickly, and I always recommend drawing a picture. It seems stupid to draw a picture, but when you're dealing with shapes, draw the stupid picture. Okay? So I've got a couple of pieces of information. I thought I had my other pen, and I left it somewhere special. All right. I've got 10 meters of wire, and I'm cutting it into two pieces. First one is an equilateral triangle, and I forgot I have the shape button, but you guys don't. So equilateral triangle, kind of like that. And the second one is a circle. Now, if it's an equilateral triangle, what do I know about all the sides? They are equal. I mean, it's got equal in the name. So let's make this x and x and x. All right. Now, when it comes to the circle, yeah, we're going to find a radius for it, but remember that wire is being bent all the way around it. Okay? So that's really my circumference. So I've got to have the circumference equaling 2 pi r, where r is some little radius. Okay? So my maximum for all of this, because I'm constrained to the 10 meters of wire, is going to be the 10 meters, and that needs to equal 3x, my perimeter here, plus 2 pi r. Okay? So far, so good? A little bit of garbly-gook? Okay. So, I need to figure out an equation that's going to give me my total area of the pieces that are enclosed by wire as a function of x, where we're really focused more on the side length for that triangle. Okay? So, here's going to be my recommendation. I can get my radius for this circle in terms of x from up here. Yes? My 10 meters of wire equals my 3 sides for my triangle plus however long that circle is. So let's start by getting this so it's r equals. So I've got 10 minus 3x equals 2 pi r. Dividing both sides by 2 pi means my radius for that circle has to equal that nonsense. Let's be real. That's nonsense. Right? Yeah, it is. So, if I'm finding area, how am I going to find the area for a circle? What's that formula? Yep. So, area equals pi r squared. Didn't we just find what r is? So, no, we really don't. So the complaint was, oh my god, I have to square that? When I'm actually looking at writing this equation, I know my radius, so my area is going to be pi times quantity squared. I squared it, didn't I? But I was lazy about it. They didn't tell me I had to get it in simplified form. They just said I had to square the stupid thing. So I've got half of my area created, and it's in terms of x. Yes? All right, now I got to figure out the triangle. How do I find the area for a triangle? 1/2 base times height. So you did come in and ask yesterday. So what is the base? X. Do I have the height? No. Do we remember 30, 60, 90 special right triangles? Sadly. So, yes, it's sadly. My hypotenuse is x. This base is going to be just half of my normal base. And then my height for the triangle is going to be x root 3 over 2. Because you knew you needed that in your life, didn't you? The 30, 60, 90 stuff? Not that I know of yet, but, I mean, everything previous is fair game. Okay? So, if I'm trying to find area for the stupid triangle, so we got area for the circle, area for the triangle is going to be 1/2. We said my base was x, and we said my height was this stupidity. Now I just got to add those two together. So, and the only thing I'm going to do, sorry, I had the hiccups. I'm going to combine that triangle crap just a little bit, so it's not quite as gross, but I'm not messing with this side. Like, I'm just not going to. Leave it alone. So it equals, got x squared root 3 all over 4, plus the nastiness that came from my circle. And that is officially my final answer for A. Yes, but I wasn't kidding when I said we're doing the ickiest one possible in our notes. It will not show up on the test. How do you find what? 1/2 base height. Alright, so now I gotta figure out the stupid domain. So what x values could be possible? Can I have 0? Could I have a little bit bigger than 0? Yes. So I'm definitely starting here. Alright. Now, just think in terms of sides of the triangle, right? I have 10 meters of wire. And I know I've got 3x for just the triangle. Okay? So if I don't even build the stupid circle, what's the biggest I can make for that triangle? 10 over 3, right? 10 over 3 equals x. It's divided by 3. Ain't nobody want to deal with those repeating decimals. Alright, so that's going to be the biggest triangle I can possibly make. And that's assuming I don't make a stupid circle, right? Max size for a triangle. I can't hit 10 over 3, though, for my triangle, because technically I'm still supposed to build a circle. I just didn't say it had to be visible. So it's going to be like this, like little boop on your hand. Alright, so that's going to be my domain. Assuming I don't build a stupid circle, what do I actually have size-wise? Alright, now, ready to plug it into the graphing calculator so we can actually look at what's going to be our minimum for the area. So I made sure I I wrote it on the whiteboard up here, just because I know I scrolled. Do you guys remember how to do fractions in the calculator? Alpha y equals? Alpha y equals is your friend. Not on the 83s. Sorry. You have to do it the old-fashioned way. You're like, I'm used to this stupid thing. Alright, so I know my window looks stupid, but I'm going to leave it because we're going to need the window for number 2. Yeah, remember I said my window looks stupid. Yours is not going to look like mine. Minimum. The app just tells you? Yeah. But you don't get to use the app on the test, so you better know how to find it. Did we get the same minimum? Yes? Okay. So minimum is side length for the triangle is going to be 2.077. And then the y, which is the area for both of those shapes, is just going to be a little bit less than 3. Bueno? Not bueno? Calculator issues? So, second, trace, minimum. There you go. Alright, so...
My minimum is like 3.006. That'd be fine. Because mine doesn't go any lower than that.
Are you using the left bound, right bound? So if you use the left bound, right bound, you tell the... So you hit second calc, minimum is number 3. Move the bug to the left of where your minimum is, hit enter. Move the bug to the right, hit enter, and then the third one is guess. So you're telling the calculator, looking between here and here, find you the lowest value.
Okay, and then it just press enter again.
Whoop.
Thank you.
What was that again? 2.998. Oh, you jerk face. That's you. All right. I'll show you here in just a second. All right, we want to start writing this next one up. All right, y'all start writing. I'm going to help with the calculator. So, see how I have it written up here? You go alpha, y equals, this gives you fractions. So now I can type x squared times square root of 3 over 4 plus, and I'm going to go alpha y equals again. And I'm going to put everything that's squared because I'm kind of lazy. I'm actually going to do parentheses. 10 minus 3x. 2, 5. Get up over here. Close my parentheses. Squared. It's pi times my radius squared. It's just a really gross radius. The tiger came from a kid in 7th period who's not allowed to have pets. So apparently they just want a giant fluffy murder kitten at home. And they went with a tiger. Alright. What do we think? We ready to start drawing some pictures? Nope. Yeah, we got a couple fishies. We got a lot of dogs. There's a horse up there. We have a bunch of ducks that will have babies behind my neighbor's house. And when they were installing AT&T fiber, like, they have to dig a trench to put all the fiber lines in. We went out there and we're like, don't mess with the baby ducks. And the guy's like, I'm not. I just keep making a giant puddle and they all keep coming and hanging out with me all day. So you've got these massive burly construction workers and they're like sitting there playing with these baby ducks. Ducks aren't the smartest. Bunnies are terrible parents, too. They only feed their babies twice a day. And if you mess with the nest at all, they won't come back and feed it. So, like, yeah. So they had actually, during COVID lockdown, had completely buried their babies in one of our planters, except we had that big torrential rain. So we had to take them all out, and one of them wasn't breathing, so my husband's doing like little baby bunny CPR. And we brought them in, dried them off, warmed them up, and then put them in the dog crate like 6 inches above where their nest was, and Mom didn't want to feed them anymore. So we took over raising 6 baby bunnies. That was not fun. They're so tiny. And our one dog came up and like, we were showing them to her, and she's like, oh, for me, and like put the baby bunny in her mouth and was like just going to walk around with it and treat it like her kid. And I'm like, you poop bigger than that, honey. That's not your child. All right, now can I draw a picture? Okay. So, north, south, east, west, and I'm going to do another one over here, just because we've got 2 different planes that are going. All right, I have, where's my fancy brush? We're going to do the first one as a daisy. That's our first plane. All right, he's flying due south, so he's going straight down this way. How fast is he going? 400 miles per hour. And he's got to travel 600 miles. I have another plane, we're going to make him the smiley face, who's flying due west, so straight west. His speed is what, 250? All right, so 250 miles per hour, and he's got to travel 400 miles. All right, now I need to come up with a distance formula so I can figure out if these 2 planes are ever going to intersect. So, distance as a function of time equals horrible square root. So for this one, it's easier to write it and then explain where I got everything from. So if you notice, my little blue plane, I did the 600 miles, that's the distance to our possible intersection point, minus how fast they're going times time. Okay, remember that formula, distance equals rate times time from physics? A little bit. So I'm trying to figure out if those distances are going to equal each other, because when those distances equal each other at the same time, those planes bump into each other. All right, so in red, 400-mile distance minus the 250 for speed times time. All right, so have I written a function, distance, as a function of time? Do I need to simplify that? No. You wrote the stupid function. You don't have to simplify it. All right, so final part for this. Using a graphing calculator, how close do the planes come to each other? And at what time are they the closest? And then I'm going to put up my window so you guys can see like what to set your window settings at. So you can see everything. The equation. Oh, the question was how close do they get? And then the second one is, at what time do they get really close to each other? All right, ready to actually look at this stupid thing? So does yours kind of look like mine? Let me see. You put a negative instead of a minus. Negatives are short and a little higher. Negatives are bigger, and they are down in the center.
What window did you set it to?
Hang on, let me stop his real quick. Window I set between 0 and 5 for X, and then I counted by half-hour increments, and then Y I went from 0 to 100 and scaled it by tens. So, can you guys find the minimum for that function real quick? Good. Because you did Y min is 100 and Y max is 10, you goober. 0 to 100. Y scale is 10. Is very upset with the fact that 100 is bigger than 10. You're like, it's a Tuesday, lady. All right, so what does this mean in the context of this problem? Will these planes intersect? No, their distances never hit 0, so that Y is just how close they get, because that's my distance. All right, so they get like 21.2 miles away from each other, which in the plane world, that's way too freaking close. Okay? This one's miles per hour. The triangle and the circle one, that one was in meters. And then this occurs at like an hour and a half-ish. All right, so at what time are they the closest? Approximately 1.52 hours. And they get 21.2 miles from each other. Still lived. So, fun fact, did you know you can't be above a certain age to be an air traffic controller? They force you into retirement at a certain age because it's such a high stress, like detail-oriented job that they're like, nope, you're old, go home. Yeah. Right? I don't need someone who's so old that they can't figure out how to find the internet on their smartphone trying to make sure that the planes don't intersect. Like, if you can't work a smartphone, I don't want you doing that. All right, I'm all done. I have your quizzes.